Welcome to Essentials Explained. My name is Luke, and today we'll walk through a market sizing exercise to estimate the size of the annual pet food market in the United States. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and check out the other videos and consulting content on our channel. Our question for today is to estimate the size of the U.S. pet food market. To clarify our understanding, we want to get the market value of annual pet food sales in the United States, including all types of household pets, but excluding zoos or any agricultural or industrial use for animals. So this is a question that feels relatively well defined, and you can probably assume that pets does not include zoo animals or agricultural animals or anyone used in industrial use. But it's helpful to confirm, and it's great to ensure you're aligned with your interviewer that it includes all types of pets, it excludes these types of pets, and just show that you can think about what are the other uses of animal food or feed that could be out there. This is correct, so we can move on to building our framework, which is to try to estimate the dollar value of all U.S. pet food that is sold in the U.S. every single year. The way I would break this down is into 4 different segments of pets: dogs, cats, fish, and other. And then for each one of these segments, you can think about the number of pets or the installed base of pets multiplied by the annual food spend per pet segment, as dogs will likely eat more than fish. And we should account for that difference in food spend by pet segment. Multiplying these two numbers together will get us the total market size for U.S. pet food. Before diving into the individual pet segments, it is helpful to estimate what percent of the overall households have some kind of pet. You can take the 130 million American households and multiply them by maybe 70% of households that have a pet, arriving at 90 million American households that have at least one pet. Now that we have a decent understanding on the number of households with pets, we can estimate for those households the percent that might have each one of our individual pet segments. So I would assume that about half of those with pets have dogs, about half have cats, about 40% have fish, and maybe about 10% have some kind of other pet, implying 45 million households with dogs and cats, 36 million with fish, and 9 million households with some kind of other pet. We can then multiply the number of households by the number of pets per household, assuming that every household with dogs has on average about 2, with some households only having 1 dog, but many having often 3, 4, 5. The same case is true with cats, with assuming that on average there are 2 cats per household that has a single cat. If you have fish, I would assume you maybe have about 5 fish. And then if you have another pet, let's assume for now you only have 1 of those pets. So here we have the total installed base of pets by individual pet segment. Now we can make an assumption on the annual food spend per segment and assume that for a dog, it costs maybe $200 per year. For a cat, about the same. A fish is maybe $20 per year. And then for other pets, since we don't have as much information, I will simply assume $200 per year for an other pet, where some may be very cheap and some actually may be very, very expensive. So now we can simply multiply our installed base of pets by our annual food spend per pet to arrive on the pet food market by segment. So 90 million dogs multiplied by $200 per dog gives you $18 billion of spend on dog food. 90 million cats multiplied by $200 per cat gives you $18 billion of spend on cat food every year. Same with fish. 180 million fish multiplied by $20 per fish gives you $3.6 billion for fish, and 9 million other pets multiplied by $200 per pet gives you $1.8 billion per pet. So if you add all of these numbers up, you get 41.4 billion, which can easily be rounded to a range of $40 to $42 billion for our estimate of the U.S. pet food market. I like giving ranges for market sizes. It gives you more flexibility, and it's more accurate with what you would do in a real life situation where there's generally a range for the expected market size. If you want to add additional sense checking, which is always great to do, and it's always great to highlight to your interviewer that you are sense checking your answer, one way you could think about it is by dividing the annual pet food spend by the number of households that you expect to have a pet. So if you take your 40 to 42 billion of US pet food sales and divide it by the 90 million households that we have estimated to have a pet, This would imply roughly $450 of annual pet food spend per household that has a pet, which feels directionally consistent with me. If it was $200, that probably feels a little bit low. If it was $1,000 or more, that probably feels a little bit high, but gives you a helpful reference point that you can highlight and say to your interviewer, after looking at these numbers, this implies roughly $450 of annual spend per household with a pet, which feels, in my experience, directionally consistent with the answer I would expect. Another interesting takeaway here is that dogs and cats comprise about 90% of the market, which feels about right, in that out of the people I know with pets, probably about 90% of them are dogs and cats, where there is maybe 10% that's fish or other or some kind of other pet that isn't captured. And shows again that you are sense checking your answer and you're thinking about how it relates to your experience in the real world. But is also helpful in case you want to pull in an additional data point in case your interviewer or your client asks you about the segmentation of the market and which one of these markets might be the most attractive. You can certainly highlight that dog and cat food comprises about 90% of the revenue of the US pet food market. Thank you for joining us at Essentials Explained. If you're interested in more consulting content, please check out the other videos on this playlist and on our channel.